Hello again, it's Dr. P. Today, in this video, we're going to talk about more advanced uses of the databases. We're going to look at more than Academic Search Complete, how to add databases to our searches, what it means to look at an EBSCO interface versus a ProQuest, or look at JSTOR, stuff like that. So more advanced searching in the databases we have available at CSULB. All right, enjoy it.
So this video, have I started every of these videos as with so? I have, haven't I? So, low, what in Old English? Okay, we're going to just look very briefly at the different interfaces of the databases and how they can be expanded to search more than one thing at a time. If you watched my one search video, you noticed that it is a federated search. It's more than one database at a time. You can do that within a database provider as well. So if I start, for example, with Academic Search Complete, I'm going to sign on. Up here in the very top where it says the database I've chosen, I can also select Choose Databases. And in this case, I can run the same search in many databases at one time. I can do Academic Search Complete. I can do APA Psych Articles and Psych Info. I can do Soc Index, ERIC, Green File if I was interested in going back to my original sample search for global warming and climate change. If I wanted to know what is inside one of these, I roll over the little note and it tells me what's inside. I can also select here, for those of us who study literature, MLA International Bibliography, if I was studying something in a story-based discussion. But looking back at our original sample search, global warming and climate change, remember we want to separate these out. The interface prefers ands in different boxes. If I wanted to do or, I could also select that from here. Or I could do not. I'd like to talk about global warming, not climate change. Let's see what we get. TX All Text is best practices. It looks in the title, the summary or abstract, as well as the body of the text. And these are all the places we're now searching. And I get over 72,000 results. The subject is global warming in a lot of them, and it is not including climate change, although you can see that's not exactly working. It's got climate, but maybe not climate change as a phrase, but climactic change is there. So maybe I could do climate change or climactic change. I'm putting these quotation marks around the words to keep them as strings together. So these words are searched now as a phrase. And now, what have I got? It looks like things that are just focused on global warming. We still have climate dynamics, but that's fine. I mean, we're getting down to more of what we want. Once again, on the left-hand side, I can adjust the date. I can select my source type. I love subjects. They're going to help me decide exactly what I want. Global warming as a subject, yes please. And then I can go in them again and see what other things I could select. I just want to deal with the greenhouse effect or greenhouse gases. Selecting Show More gives me the opportunity to narrow those down. But I also want to look at other subjects. Ooh, people involved. The geography or the location of where that might be. The publication, if I know the kind of journal or location I want my item to come from. Also publisher. The company involved. Language. We would prefer English in most of our assignments. And then finally here at the bottom, databases. And this tells me the count of which databases were most successful in my search. So I can go back to those later knowing they will have successful results. versus some places that won't. So that's searching multiple EBSCO databases. It's a really nice benefit of using the EBSCO databases because you can do them all at the same time. Don't select all the databases. Don't do this. That's just going to be a really intense and overwhelming result. You want to narrow down the things that you are interested in by looking to see what's inside of them and then deciding whether or not you want to search within them. One last thing I want to point out, if we select only MLA International Bibliography, it gives us choices in our fields that are specific to the study of literature. This is illustrated on my supplemental guide for the literature majors, but specifically the two you'd be interested in are subject author and subject work. Essay primary subject author will show information that is about an author. SK primary subject work will show information written about a work. So for example, if I select SK primary subject work and I put in Our Mutual Friend, which is a novel by Charles Dickens, now I'm only going to get results that are specifically about that text. If I choose a second database to search that novel, for example, Academic Search Complete, I no longer get the same options because those particular options are specific to MLA International Bibliography. Once I start to include other databases, I get fewer options. I could still do it as a subject term though, and hopefully that would be my book, and that would be how it would be distinguished. Now we're going to move on to look at some ProQuest interfaces. So if I wanted to see the vendor or the provider of a database, I can go to this tab here, and in this case I want to select ProQuest. That's going to give me all 29 databases that we subscribe to from this parent company. I can select ABI Inform Complete, that's a business database. And from here, I can select Change Databases. And this will give me the opportunity to select multiple databases at the same time from the parent company, ProQuest. So maybe Eric is also in ProQuest, so I could search it here. I could search Gender Watch, Global Newsstream, which would be newspapers. And once I use those selected databases, I can say global warming in where do I want it. Notice ProQuest gives me some other options. I want it in the summary. I want it in a subject heading. Those are the subjects we were talking about before. If I was using an author's name, I could search for the author. I want it in the document full text, or I want it in the title. So let's look at title just for fun. So I want global warming in the title of the result. And I want full text in this case because I need to have the thing immediately available. And I'd also like it to be peer-reviewed. That's going to X out a lot of the newspapers because they typically aren't peer-reviewed. I hit search. What do I get? I select search. And I have 20 results. Subject terms still apply. Hey, global warming, that's what I'm interested in. Remember, when I'm searching in a title, I'm looking for a phrase. When I choose it as a subject, that is an identity of content. So I want the content to be about global warming. I want that phrase in the title, and now because I selected subject as global warming, I want the content to be about global warming. You'd think these things would be equivalent or always the case. If it's in the title, wouldn't it be about that? But you never know. Always good to select if you have the opportunity. Document type. It's a feature, it's an article, it's a review. I know I only want articles. Publication title if I know the resource's name that I'm interested in. Always select more if you're given the opportunity. That way you can go down and see, oh hey, economics of energy and environmental policy. Yes, please. Now I have 2 results from that particular title. Finally, I want to look at JSTOR. That's under J. Oh, we have to release this. All vendors. JSTOR under J, very, very popular database. Lots of people use it. It's a wonderful repository of information. It has a very unhelpful search. Global warming. We'll put it in quotes to keep it together. These are my field choices. Great. I'll just take all fields, please, because that's basically, besides item title, that's what I've got. I want content I can access, and I want it to be articles. Select search. 42,000 results. My subjects here are huge. They're so broad. They're not nearly as helpful as in the other databases. It's always very disappointing. Although gender studies and global warming might be interesting. Let's look at that. Hey, that's interesting stuff. Now, here's the benefit of JSTOR. If I go into the item, it is more likely in JSTOR than any of our other databases that we will have either partial or full runs of an entire journal. If it's in JSTOR, the likelihood is we have many issues, many volumes of the journal itself, or we have the full book. The name of this journal is Race, Gender, and Class. This article is in volume 19, which usually relates to the number of years a journal's been in business. Not always, but most of the time. It's number 1-2 of 2012. Here's the location. Here's the PDF. So that's all information I can use in my citation. What's nice about JSTOR is if I go up here to volume 19, this is the entire issue with all of its articles available. That's JSTOR's really winning quality. I can actually virtually browse this entire issue. I can go to the entire journal and see how far we have it. This is our coverage. This is what is available from volume 2 to volume 23. And now I can look at actual volumes and see all the issues within them. That is JSTOR's really high selling point, and I recommend you use it for that. Okay, those are the 3 things that I wanted to go over today, and I hope you have a good time exploring more of the databases. We have currently 256 databases, and I am sure more than one of them will be helpful to you for each of your assignments. Happy searching! See you next time.